champs, let's get rid of Windows Home and let's get some Windows Pro. Copy and paste my code from the description. New codes, new discount. You can get Windows Professional, Office. Paste my code. Boom. It's Windows Pro time. Get in here. Let's see the cooling performance. This is CPU only. Small FFTs. Prime 95. Non-AVX. And we got 3 gigahertz speed here on the premium model. Advanced model, should I say. Kept on saying premium, but have a look here. If we have a look, we can see it has reached 100 degrees. That was a fan curve thing, so you know, before the fan kicked in it reached 100, but I have seen this. Look, you can see one core's going up to 90 with the fans going very fast at the moment, so they're pretty much on max probably. They're very loud, they're going very fast at least, and it will go under 3 gigahertz, this advanced model. Okay, so you know, average temperature there, what do we got? It's doing 45 watts, and we can see there that the temperatures, you know, some of the cores are 83, some of them are 91. Yeah, well, that's what it is. And this one here, the base model, super cool. Okay, the maximum temperature was 80 degrees, and you can see there it's running around 75, mid 70s. All the cores are pretty much around the same, the mid 70s, maybe, you know, a little bit hotter than that. Maximum temperature was 80 degrees, where the other one reached 100 and is still reaching 90. If you talk about sound, this one is about 5 decibels louder than this one, but that could be just because it's working harder, because, you know, those temperatures are more out of control on this one. It still maintains 3 gigahertz, but it will go under 3 gigahertz every now and then. This has the vapor chamber, this has the normal copper heatsink, and you might be thinking, well, this is running at 3 gigahertz and it's running cooler. The cooling is better in this. Now, this is CPU only test. I'll test GPU and CPU together in a minute. That's not really the case, because this could just have a bad paste job compared to that. Like, seriously, it could just be that. You know, if I repasted this, it might work better, it might run cooler. There you go. See, the clock is dropped there, whereas this one here, the base model, will never drop below 3 gigahertz, and you can see why. It's been running for ages at 70 degrees. There's no way it's going to drop, whereas this one, look, some of those cores are in the 90s. So you might be thinking again, as I said, that the vapor chamber is worse than the copper one. That doesn't mean anything. It just could be variance in units. So I assume the vapor chamber would be better. We'll test GPU and CPU together now. We're running GPU and CPU at the same time. So this is the ultimate punishing torture test. And we have 100%, 100 degrees on the GPU. So you can see there the CPU is 100%. And the GPU is going pretty fast. 82 degrees versus 100 degrees on the CPU. Getting a nice amount of frames per second there. Got to be happy with that. This is the advanced model, okay? So this has the vapor chamber and the 230 watt power supply. Go across here. You probably ignore the frames, even though this is like 88 and this is like 60, 70, whatever. You can probably ignore that, because this does have a GTX 1070 Max-Q, the advanced model, and this has a GTX 1060 Max-Q. Now, have a look at, see that GPU? See the frequency on that? See how it drops down? That'll go back up. And this is because it's power limit throttling, okay? So it's not thermal. This is much cooler, 60, there you go. We're getting some more power for the GPU there, and the GPU is going up to 1700, but then it will go back down. Now, this is because we're running the CPU at 100%, the same time we're running the GPU at 100%. Now, no game does that. I think the maximum I've seen, sometimes Battlefield every now and then will go up, creep up in the usage, but I think 70% is the most I've seen in a game in CPU usage. So this is a torture test that wouldn't really happen in a gaming scenario. You're not going to get 100% usage, but you can see that is definitely power limit throttling. This has a 180 watt power supply versus a 230 watt power supply on the advanced model. So that means, you know, if I could put a 230 watt power supply on this, I'm pretty sure that will, you know, reduce that power limit throttling there. But look at the temperatures, 66 degrees on the GPU, 81 degrees on the CPU. Very cool, very cool.
But again, it's not running at full speed because that GPU is backing off all the time due to power limit throttling. It's definitely not thermal throttling because those temperatures are well cool on the base model here. So if we have a look here on the advanced model, notice that the CPU is 2.4 and over here 3 gigahertz. So this can maintain a higher clock. So I assume if you go into throttle stop and reduce that clock and maybe put it to 2.5, you'll be able to get more GPU speeds, meaning the power supply could give more power to the GPU and just reduce the clock of the CPU there. So, but it is interesting that this can maintain 3 gigahertz. This is super cool, this base model. You know, you're never going to get 100% usage, as I said here. 2.3, 2.4 we're getting, and 82 degrees, 100 degrees on the CPU. That's why it's 2.4, because it is reaching 100 degrees here. And this has been running for a while, same temperature, same drivers, everything. And you can see also up here, you know, no power limit throttling on the GPU, and they're both running in performance mode, by the way, in Synaptics. So yeah, this is the maximum performance you can get out of these. Yeah, I have to say, even though that's reaching 100 degrees, the CPU, that GPU is pretty much running at full speed. I mean, they can go faster than that. You know, 1600, that's pretty friggin' fast. And temperature's not critical on the GPU, and 2.4, I mean, a lot of gaming laptops that can go lower than that. So yeah, I have to say this has a hot CPU for some reason. It seems to be hotter than that. There's no conclusive proof that this vapor chamber is better than this, because CPU only, this one here, yeah, it runs hotter than this CPU only on the base model. So interesting. I'll do a full suite of benchmarks and we'll see, you know, where it comes out. Obviously the base model is going to be slower. It has a GTX 1060 Max-Q versus GTX 1070.
Alright, so if we have a look at PUBG, we have a quick look, we're playing 1080p high settings on both these laptops. Now for what it's worth, the base model was 90 frames per second and the advanced model could do 108 frames per second. Now this is at the same settings, so at least in PUBG it is at 18 frames per second, you know, performance improvement with the advanced model with the GTX 1070 Max-Q versus the GTX 1060 Max-Q on the base model. But what surprised me a little bit was, you know, the base model could maintain a higher CPU frequency. It could do about 45 watts pretty consistently and keep that clock nearly up to its maximum of 3.9 most of the time. It was cooler CPU and GPU, and it had higher clocks than the CPU and GPU than the advanced model, which could only maintain around 35 watts on the CPU, and it also had a lower GPU clock. So that was quite interesting. So anyway, I will do a performance suite. I'll test them in Premiere Pro and I will test them, you know, with more games. Stay tuned for that. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and until next time guys, tally ho.